Elizabeth, are you awake? She, Elizabeth, Elizabeth, Elizabeth. We're live. I don't think she can hear me. She could hear me like 5 minutes ago. I don't know what happened.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh my god.
What happened there?
And now, of course, I can't hear you. The moment that I need to, I can't hear you.
Why can't you hear me? That's so strange. You could hear me literally
Audio.
2 minutes ago. Nothing but the finest here at the Pinfall Podcast. And we've got it. While Liz figures this out, I'll do a little intro. Um, we're doing a little Sunday special here on the Pinfall Podcast.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What happened there?
So, I stupidly. Do you know how AirPods like automatic or Bluetooth devices automatically switch
When you
to
get
certain
far enough
things?
away?
No. So, with my AirPods, they automatically prefer my phone.
Hmm.
And I opened up my phone while I was waiting for you to do the countdown, assuming I would hear you say things so I would know when to put my phone down. And it switched to my phone, so I didn't hear that.
It was so funny. I went live and I was like, and we're live. And I see you just still staring down. I was like, is she frozen or?
No. Just
Um,
stupid.
but we've got a special Sunday episode here. Because we as Americans put priority on the USA playing the World Cup. Um, so we're doing a special Sunday now that they're eliminated.
Yeah, we put priority on them playing in the World Cup, and then we put priority on mourning them losing in the World Cup, as you
Um,
do.
but in honor of the World Cup, we have a special activity after the show. I've prepared something. Um, and also because of the World Cup, we'll be talking about the finals to the SmackDown World Cup, where Ricochet faced Santos Escobar for a shot at the Intercontinental Championship, which was the prize of the big World Cup. We'll be talking about all the wrestling that's happened this week, some news that happened, and not too much big news, nothing really massive. And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Talking about Tegan Nox returning to WWE. Talking about um a little debut that happened on Rampage. A little not an in-ring debut, but a first appearance on AEW.
Oh,
And we'll be talking about is there anything else big that happened?
not that I could think of.
Yeah. Nothing that
With the
happened on
Rampage, with
huh?
the Rampage debut, naturally I was not in the room for it, and that's why I didn't remember that it happened.
Literally as soon as you stepped out of the room it happened.
I just was like, I'm gonna step out for a second, and then Rampage was like, oh, cool.
um yeah, I don't think anything else happened on like Raw, um NXT, even Dynamite, nothing really. Oh, William Regal being written off of television.
And Eric Young.
And Eric Young being written off of television. A lot of old people being written off. Potentially murdered this week. One definite murder, one maybe murder. Knowing how fragile old people can be. So let's jump into the news first and foremost. Oh, also, we'll also be talking about the 5 best matches of the week. We'll be talking about the Mike Romies, which will be happening at the beginning of 2023. And we'll be answering your questions at the end of the show. something that we have had a little bit of trouble bringing back since this transition to weekly recaps started. So prepare your questions, be asked later in the show. All right, let's talk about some news. This is also the last week that I will, actually second to last week, since I will be once again doing the show alone next weekend because Liz will be going on another trip to Boston. So I will be soloing next week's show, which will be the predictions for Ring of Honor Final Battle. Amongst other things. I don't know if the finish to the tag league will be happening around then, but we will see.
In honor of the US being kicked out of the World Cup, by the way, they had the US goalie on their show earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, they just showed him watching the fireworks over the faraway stadium where the game was just played against France versus Poland. Just like it was his back, and he was just standing there holding himself. And I was like, "Is this what we want to do right now?" Like, anyways, sorry.
But this is gonna be the second to last week that I will be spearheading the news. We'll have Liz back to that. Again, things have been rocky since transitioning over to the weekly recap, but we're getting back into the swing of it.
Yeah.
So, starting off, in an interview with Sean Ross Sapp, Dax Harwood opened up about CM Punk, Phil Brooks. He said, "Sometimes the detractors are louder." This is a quote from Dax Harwood. "Sometimes the detractors are louder and get their news out more than he does. He had his door always open, invited people in, watched matches of the young wrestlers that asked him to, stuck around until the end of the show, and anybody that had questions he would answer." And sorry if I sound a bit sick. I have a little bit of a cold right now, it seems like. So we kind of always knew that Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR, were big advocates of CM Punk. And this what he said here can be true while also it being true what happened with Brawl Out. And I feel like that kind of denotes how much of a decline CM Punk went through in that short amount of time that he was in AEW.
Yeah.
And how much those leaks got to him. So it's sad to see such a big role model to a lot of wrestlers go down this path and kind of have a fall from grace. And now that's two big like idols to the young wrestlers gone from AEW. First it was Cody, now CM Punk. And now, I mean, you have Jericho still, who still seems like a big role model for up and comers, and also potentially Jon Moxley. I don't know how much of a sit and watch with the younger people, how much of that he does.
I think that Jericho is more for our generation, and Mox might be for the slightly younger generation, just because Mox has been around, but I think he's being put on a much higher pedestal lately.
Yeah.
But I fucking hate to say it. I really do. This like brings me genuine pain. But fuck me, Jericho's a rock, if nothing else.
I mean, yeah. He's there's a reason that he's like kept around in AEW so much, and it's not just because of his in-ring ability. He could still go at his age, but like he's still he's also like a very important figurehead backstage. Especially when the whole Brawl Out thing happened, he was kind of one of the first people to speak up about like bringing Burrell back. I mean, even right after CM Punk's press conference, I think Chris Jericho was next up, and so he had to kind of like
pull it together.
Yeah, he had to pull everything together. Um,
Yeah.
but continuing on with kind of W or AEW stuff, Brian Alvarez has a little bit of an update on um William Regal potentially making his move back to WWE after what happened on AEW on Dynamite when MJF knocked William Regal in the back of the head with the brass knucks, potentially writing William Regal off of Dynamite. Brian Alvarez, as reported on by WrestlingNews.co, said, "The belief among people within WWE is that when he signed with AEW, he essentially had an agreement where if Triple H returns to power, he can go back to WWE, and Triple H is now back in power. The belief within WWE is that is what is going on. He is going back to WWE, and it was part of an agreement that he made when he signed, and Triple H is now back in power, and so William Regal is returning. Whether this is the case, we will, I'm sure, find out soon enough." And I'm sure that travel schedule was not good for William Regal. So returning to NXT might be the best move for him.
I I think what we're seeing really, and like this kind of upsets me because I was really excited to see Regal on AEW just because I was excited to see Regal back, but um I think we're starting to see a lot of the fallout of Tony Khan's short-sightedness
Yeah, very much
with
like
signing people and with storylines and with all that shit.
it's kind of like that instant gratification that Tony Khan's focused on, having these big marquee matches with no real lead up. You know, they just signed Juice Robinson officially to AEW. Um, Yet another name that is getting more attention than the people in the locker room.
Was Regal ever all elite?
He was. He was
Okay.
all elite.
Um, you know who I think does it well?
Who?
This feels weird to say, but Impact and New Japan both do big guys well in the sense in and what I mean specifically is just they take people that people are talking about, they throw them into a couple matches, and then that's it. Like for example, people were talking about Bobby Fish for a little bit because Bobby Fish was like talking shit. And Impact came in, they were like, "You want Bobby Fish?
Mm-hmm.
Here's Bobby Fish." And we never saw Bobby Fish again. New Japan's doing the same exact thing with the same exact person, but still.
I mean, yeah.
Not committing is almost sometimes better. Like,
Um,
not committing to a person.
yeah.
Like, and Impact does it well with a lot of people. Impact will bring in people for, like, the pop that aren't really supposed to be there for a long time, but, like, when because of, like, the stuff that surrounds being all elite and getting that graphic, that adds so much extra commitment to it that it's like, if the person's not really that committed to it, then, like, we shouldn't be pretending.
Yeah. Like there are a lot of problems with Impact, but
Oh, yeah, no, for sure.
but showcasing
Impact's losing people left and right.
showcasing their locker room is not one of them. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they have problems with like showcasing Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer a little too much, especially like in matches with their younger talent. Um, Most notably, Bully Ray should not be having long matches with Moose. Moose should obliterate him in 10 seconds. But they do such a good job with making their roster stand out, booking their people to the best. I mean, most notably Josh Alexander, who's been the hottest star, hottest babyface probably in all of wrestling right now.
Is this the wrong time to say I'm starting to get a little tired of his tail run?
There is, I mean, it's the problem with any babyface champion. You
Yeah,
know,
no.
the only one we've seen done well is Drew McIntyre.
Uh, uh, uh,
Maybe
yes.
Mox.
No. Drew, yes, but only to a degree because after a point, Drew. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to give in to what everybody else says. I'm wrong. Drew's right. Drew is one of the best babyface title runs that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Sorry.
In the modern
I
day.
know a lot of people got tired of him, but it's like every single defense had a good storyline, had motive
Towards the end, it got a
for the
little
most
bit
part.
draining,
Towards
though,
the end, it did get a little like, okay,
when
we're
there were
doing,
like 15 matches against Randy Orton.
you know, look at us now. We would
Yeah.
be wishing for that as it is.
Um, but
But also, if maybe Randy Orton's entire finishing move wasn't him falling on his ass, maybe we wouldn't be in this position.
yeah. But anyway, we've detracted enough from the William Regal stuff. There's another update on that from PW Insider. They reported that all signs are that William Regal will be World Wrestling Entertainment bound shortly. Although we have heard nothing official from the company, there have been rumblings within WWE of late about Regal returning in a backstage role. That would mean Regal would be exiting AEW, where it certainly appeared that he was written out of storylines last night in Dynamite, having been attacked by MJF. Backstage role I could definitely see, even if
I
it's...
want to see his face.
Huh?
I want to see his face.
I mean, he could be a backstage role in that he's still like GM of NXT.
That'd be William Regal's finest moments were his, well, as a non wrestler, were as the GM of NXT.
I want to see Regal and Carmelo Hayes go at it, or Regal and Trick.
Regal and Grayson Waller.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Further news: Dave Meltzer, spoke about the heat that happened at Survivor Series with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Apparently that slap that Kevin Owens gave Roman Reigns was a bit of an unplanned, hard one. Dave Meltzer said, regarding the report on what happened backstage with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, which there were curse words thrown around, a lot of shouting after Survivor Series, after the main event. Meltzer said the story is accurate in the sense Reigns got upset after being popped and had noticeable bruising under his left eye. There was talk of a possible broken eardrum, but that was not confirmed to us. What is confirmed is that it came from a slap by Owens. Reigns was upset, but 20 minutes later it had all blown over, so there's no lingering issue regarding it. I'm sure it was very much heat of the moment. Reigns was upset about maybe being injured. And after a massive reign like Roman's, the last thing you want is for it to end with an injury and having to relinquish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they had it looked at. Wasn't anything serious. So Reigns was able to cool down. But very much understand getting angry like that.
He's a delicate flower. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. It's not...
He's not delicate, but he I can understand being like,
And
please don't do that.
Roman's a big storyteller, and so for his story to end like that would be so demoralizing. Especially like that is WWE's biggest attraction right now. That would be such a shame.
I know what's actually interesting about Roman is he is probably the WWE's biggest attraction right now. He should be. And it's just interesting to see like a title reign done so well. Even though like his
say so.
defenses have been like kind of meh.
I'd
Like
I'd blame those defenses on like just I think the most mad defenses come with Brock Lesnar.
I wouldn't say that the matches were meh.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's not what I'm saying. It's more like just he hasn't been around as much, and like he hasn't been around as much as you would want him to be, but like maybe that's for the best because like I haven't gotten sick of him. Well, I've gotten sick of him, but like I also haven't at the same time.
Yeah, it's like he's not oversaturating the show. When he shows up, it is important.
Yeah.
Um, and I do like now that Triple H is in charge, he's not shoving a required world title match in every pay-per-view. You know, the like Survivor Series didn't defend the title. Extreme Rules didn't have a title defense, and it increases the importance of it. And Roman knows how important his title reign is, and also if he were to, be out of action because of a broken eardrum, that would completely just squash him. That would bury him as in kayfabe, because it's like, oh, he had to relinquish because of a broken eardrum. That's it. Went on these
I
massive matches with Kevin Owens, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, and it's a broken eardrum that does it.
I I honestly think that Triple H would find a way to make it like worth our time.
Maybe.
I don't know how long a broken eardrum would take to heal.
I don't know, but
I don't know if I mean obviously you can't cast it.
it would definitely like requires a lot of changing in the story. But we are also going very
Going way off track.
yeah, we're running very long with this news. One last piece of news, very short one. Sportskeeda confirmed that CM Punk will not be removed from AEW's game Fight Forever. So he'll still be in the game, no longer on the box cover though.
Okay. Okay.
So maybe there was some contractual stuff they had to keep him in. Like, I'm sure signing to the game was a different contract than his one at AEW, and he's still on the roster. You go to AEW's roster page, which they have updated recently. He is still on that roster, so I'm sure they wouldn't be able to remove him from the game. All right. So that's all the news. You want to talk about some wrestling?
Um. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, we don't have to. We could just we could just call it here.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Talk about the
fuck
World Cup or something.
Senegal.
Say Senegal?
Yeah, Senegal.
Okay. I don't know why I thought I misheard you.
They're playing England, and England, ironically, has made kind of a shitty lineup. So I'm kind of interested to see how this is gonna all fall apart.
All right, let's get back to wrestling.
Sorry. You joked that we could talk about the World Cup, and my brain immediately was like, let's do it.
We had a pretty fun Raw. Raw has been my favorite show lately. Those 3 hours are so worth it. But this Raw was commercial free for the first hour, which it wasn't even one of those commercial free where they throw in WWE commercials. No, it was straight up commercial free for the first hour. No WWE or Peacock ads thrown in. It was entirely commercial free, all Raw.
Was it advertised as commercial free?
No, they didn't even. I don't even think they said it until the show started.
Oh.
I think so. I don't know. But it was great to see that it was like legitimately commercial free. And Becky Lynch opened the show. She's doing a great job hyping everything up. She goes in the crowd, and fucking the two people that she finds, Bob.
One of them was normal. One of them was off his fucking rocker.
Well, there was Bob, who was a lovely human being.
Bob was wonderful.
Big beard, very big man.
Yeah.
X-Men, bright yellow X-Men sweatshirt. Was very much playing along. Said, kick her butt. Could have said ass. Kept it PG. But then there was Zach. And Zach was just the wrong person to get involved. He was getting very close to Becky. He was appeared very drunk. And just would not stop shouting. But props to Bob, though.
Bob held it together.
Bob was great, and Becky was great too for dealing with Zach.
I think after a certain point, like when you do enough fan meets and greets, you have to understand how to like handle people that are like just a little bit strange.
Yeah. But then Bayley comes out, and Becky gets attacked by Damage Control in the crowds, and they are fighting all through the arena. They fight back in the merch booth. Merch stand gets destroyed. And then the fight's eventually broken up. Then we go back to the ring for Rhea Ripley versus Mia Yim, which is DQ'd because Judgment Day and the OC come out. They start brawling into the match. And then AJ calls for an 8-man mixed tag match, which this was a lot of fun. Even the women had hits on the men. It was great. And Judgment Day wins via Riptide. Hopefully that's the end to that story and we can move on to something else. I don't know. This seemed like end all be all right there. You got the 8-man. That's it. What more can you do? So then we have an interview with the Street Profits, which had Alpha Academy interject. But then the Bloodline comes out to the ring. They get a big old group hug with Sammy and the Usos. Solo is kind of not wanting any part of it. But then Kevin Owens comes out. And KO challenges Jey Uso to a match later in the night. We then have an interview with Candice LeRae. And then with Elias and Matt Riddle. But the Bloodline then walks in and Elias and Matt Riddle challenge the Usos for the tag titles, which I think will be happening this coming Monday, tomorrow.
Had to think when Monday was. I was like, I don't even know what day today is.
Then we had the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy, and Profits win via Frog Splash from Montez. We then had Austin Theory in the ring. Seth Rollins then comes out and challenges Theory for the US title. Don't know when that match is happening though. But I'm excited to see how this will go down, whether Theory will get like a clean win on Seth or if it'll be more shenanigans. But then we had an interview with The Miz. And he's got a bag of money, like a Louis Vuitton bag. And apparently he's got an injured quote-unquote hand. Adam Pearson walks in, he doubts the injury, and he's like, that's not even the right hand that got injured. And that was his way of trying to get out of the match. We had The Miz going out for his match against Dexter Lumis next. Couldn't get out of the match. Dexter Lumis wins. It was an anything goes match, by the way. It was a lot of fun. Lumis wins via silence. And Dexter takes the money. He gives it out to the kids. Gives $100 to each of the kids.
And they're real $100.
They were real $100. But then The Miz runs in, takes the bag back, takes the money from a child, rips it out of his hands. But then Johnny runs in, super kicks The Miz, and gives the money back to the kid.
I was so upset at first. I was like, no, you can't do that.
It's that heat. As Dick Togo would say, that heat.
I'm glad Dick Togo agree with it.
Next, we had Dakota Kai versus Candice LeRae, and this match was fucking awesome. This was so good. Oh my god. Leave it up to Triple H's pupils to put on an excellent match. And Candice LeRae picked up the win. And speaking of excellent matches, we then got Kevin Owens versus Jey Uso, where Kevin Owens won with a stunner. And looks like Kevin Owens will be next in line for the big dog, Tribal Chief, which is awesome because Kevin Owens probably got the closest to beating Roman aside from Seth. I'd say it was probably like Kevin Owens got the closest, then Seth, then Finn. Because Finn literally required an act of God to lose. Actually, Seth
I
was
feel
probably
like
the
that was
closest.
never even explained.
It wasn't. It was completely ignored. Not even like seeing Paul Heyman in the background with like a tool or something. Um all right. Let's talk about NXT. Pretty
Nick,
uneventful NXT. We started with Roxanne Perez versus Indy Hartwell, and Roxanne wins via Pop Rocks. I just want to see Indy on main roster. She needs to get out of here.
she and Dexter reunited at an NXT live show.
Yeah, I saw. That's awesome. Hopefully they do
Yeah,
it on the main roster.
I know.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like having her on NXT, because the longer they have her on NXT, the more she's buried. Like, she's losing to Roxanne Perez here. They're talking crap about her on commentary, like saying she doesn't have like a killer instinct or anything. Like basically giving reasons why
Maybe.
she's not on the main roster.
I'd say maybe, but I don't see any reason for this to be happening.
We
I
then
thought one would come to me if I started talking, but
we then have a promo from Chase U. And Duke Hudson is gathering signatures to put Andre Chase in the Iron Survivor match. Grayson Waller then walks in and talks more shit to Duke Hudson. And Duke is like, I'll handle this Chase. I'll take out Grayson. But then we get Dijak, Hard Justice, versus Dante Chen. And Dijak wins via GTS. There's no like name for his finisher. Unless it's just named Hard Justice. I call it GTS because it's kind of what it is. Or maybe, is it GTS or GTH? Because the GTH is different from the GTS.
I think it's the GTH.
Because yeah, he does like the flip around. Meanwhile, the GTS is just raising them over your head. But we then have a Diamond Mine promo with JD McDonough. And then we get the committee talking about the men's Iron Survivor match, and it's Shawn Michaels, Road Dogg, X-Pac, Medusa, and Molly Holly. And what they decide on for the Iron Survivor match, let me make sure I have the lineup right. So let's see, that's that's not the right match. Okay. Iron Survivor match. So for the men's, it is Grayson Waller, JD McDonough, Carmelo Hayes, and Joe Gacy, and a wild card. And the wild card will be decided in a match between Tony D'Angelo, Von Wagner, Axiom, and Andre Chase.
I hope it's Von Wagner.
Oh god. Oh god. What a way to kill a match. It should be Axiom or Andre Chase. Anyone but Von Wagner. I'd love it if it was Chase, just because that would kind of fit in with the Duke Hudson story. And we'll get to the women's later on because that was its own segment. We then had Grayson Waller versus Duke Hudson. Grayson wins via stunner. And an important thing in the match, Duke almost kicked Thea Hale, but he stopped himself. And he was like, see, I could stop at any point. And Andre's like, wait, you can stop? You can stop yourself? So he's like, why didn't you stop when you kicked me? So sowing more discontent between Duke and Chase, and kind of towing the line of whether or not Duke is still heel, if he's got an ulterior motive or not.
I want them to figure it out. I do so
He's gonna be a
badly.
good guy. He's 100% gonna be a good
I don't
guy.
want Andre Chase to turn.
I don't think he will. I think it's gonna be
I'm
a
praying.
cathartic moment. It all depends on when that's gonna happen.
Because I took that more as like Duke has learned how to slow himself down, how to stop himself.
I don't know. The way Chase asked, like, you can stop yourself, was like, oh, he could have done it all along. Um, After that, we had an interview with Javier Bernal. And then we had Kiana James versus Fallon Henley. Kiana picked up the win with a 401k. We then had a promo with Odyssey Jones, Malik Blade, and Idris Enofe. And Idris Enofe, actually, oh no, Malik Blade opened up about his sweater vest. And he's like, this is the last, like, it's not just my sweater vest, it was the last sweater vest my dad gave me. It was my dad's sweater vest. It was a very sweet moment. Kind of explain why he wears it all the time.
I did enjoy that. I like getting to know more about them, and I'm glad that we are, because like at first I kind of thought that they were just like a one-off, like, oh, we shoved these two guys together,
Yeah,
whatever kind of
and
thing.
now
They've kind
it's
of stuck
like,
together.
yeah, they're like, I want to see more of them. Like, they should be higher up on the card, not mixing it up with Odyssey Jones.
No, definitely.
But then we have the women's Iron Survivor match announced by the committee, and that is Kiana James, Zoe Stark, Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez, and a mystery entrant. And that mystery entrant will be decided in a match between Wendy Chu, Fallon Henley, and Indy Hartwell. I have a feeling it's gonna be Wendy Chu.
She's been a little mouthier online, so I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, yeah. Um. So those two matches will be a lot of fun and just very confusing too, because it's like, it's got the penalty box, it's got, Royal Rumble rules, like entrants coming out one after another. Um, Very confusing match. Next up, we have the announcement, the reveal of a new wrestler coming to NXT, Lyra Valkyria, which is Aoife Valkyrie from NXT UK. Amazing wrestler, and she's got an excellent presence. So she's going to be someone that'll be very exciting to see on NXT again.
I missed her a lot.
Yeah.
She was always like one of my favorites from NXT UK.
Yeah. She was definitely one of the best in the women's division there, and in the entirety of NXT UK, not just the women's division.
And she always seemed very like committed to making sure that everything went well in her matches.
Mm-hmm. We then had an interview with Elektra Lopez. Then we had Javier Bernal versus Axiom. Axiom won with a splash. Then we had Braun Breaker and Apollo Crews at a diner, where they kind of, I don't know what the purpose of this was, getting to know each other, just talking it out, but I don't know. Those eggs didn't look good. They looked unseasoned. it was it was awkward.
It was a very weird, like, do we need to be doing this right now? Like,
And like, Braun, couldn't you have waited till he was done eating?
yeah. Meet him in the parking lot like a man.
Yeah, like an NXT wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
We then had JD McDonough versus Julius Creed. Julius won by DQ. After I believe a chair got in the oh no, it wasn't a chair. This was stupid. This was a very dumb DQ. I think it was, someone was attacking Julius, like about to attack Julius, But then Veer comes in, pushes the guy out of the way, and that's considered a DQ for some reason. Julius never got hit. But it was great. Veer and Sangha, they interjected because they wanted the Creed brothers at their strongest, healthy. And I'm already liking the Indus Share. I'm already liking them a lot. This reinvention.
Yeah. And it's a really creative reinvention too.
Yeah. Like they're not brutes. They're not one track, not two-dimensional. They're not both the same.
It shows that there's more at play recently than there used to be, because if Shawn Michaels is in charge now, and Indus Share was an NXT product, somewhere along the lines, I think Vince got mixed in, because I don't think, if we look at like the constant, which is Shawn Michaels and NXT, and we look at the not constant, which is Vince, I don't think Shawn's just pulling out of his left pocket like, oh, instead of this, let's do this. I think that Shawn was like, no, that was stupid. I didn't think of that. Let's do this instead.
Well, Triple H was booking NXT before Shawn Michaels was.
But I'm talking about character creation.
Like,
I don't know if
like Malcolm
like
Bivens
building
Indus
up to the
Share?
Huh?
Like Malcolm Bivens Indus Share when he was
Yeah,
managing
like
them?
I'm saying like I don't think that the person who created the characters of Indus Share has a hand in this version of Indus Share.
I hate to break it to you, it was probably Triple H that made them what they were, because Triple H in NXT, when he was booking NXT, especially as of late, he was all about badass guys just wanting to fight. And that's what Indus Share was all about. They were badass guys, big badass guys that just wanted to fucking fight.
You might be right. You could be right. And maybe I'm just living in like a little fantasy world, but something is different, and I'm glad that it is more or less what I'm saying.
We then had Hard Justice, Dijak, having a promo with Tony D'Angelo. And this makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're going to introduce Dijak as like a vigilante, this is exactly where you want to do it. Tony D'Angelo, mob boss, being taken on by a vigilante. Very Batman-esque, very Sylvester Stallone, Steven Seagal-esque. So
Very Steven Seagal-esque.
yeah. We then had Von Wagner versus Malik Blade. Von Wagner wins. And then we had the main event: Nikita Lyons, Kaden Carter, and Katana Chance versus Toxic Attraction. And Toxic Attraction win the match. Probably alluding to Kaden and Katana winning at Deadline. I don't know where Nikita Lyons fits in. I hope she's not going for that women's title. There are other people that should be in that spot. But it is what it is. Alright. You want to talk about Dynamite?
Dynamite? Sure.
Let's start moving through these fast because we are going a little long. We opened up with Jon Moxley's promo. One of my favorite things he said in this promo was, there are 3 things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Jon Moxley. But then Hangman returns. He attacks Mox, whole brawl breaks out, and they even take it backstage. But Mox tripped on his way to charging at Hangman. He tripped off the ramp. And you could tell it wasn't supposed to happen because he got right back up and then continued charging at Hangman. Hangman kind of just stood there like, what do I do?
There's the funniest, like, somebody took a still of, like, Hangman's face in that moment, and he just, like, looks like... Which I can't blame him.
Next up, we had Dax Harwood versus Bryan Danielson. Fantastic match. Bryan Danielson wins via label lock. We then have Ricky Starks in an interview. He's entering himself in the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royal, saying he wants to take everything from MJF. And we then go back to Mox and Hangman brawling in the garage. We have an interview with both JAS and Blackpool Combat Club. Yuta challenges Garcia for the Pure title. Then we had Samoa Joe versus AR Fox. Samoa Joe wins via Muscle Buster. Joe then gets on the mic, and Wardlow shows up on the Tron. He welcomes Samoa Joe to Wardlow's world. And that singles match will probably be happening sometime soon. Not sure really when it'll happen. Probably winter's coming.
I would imagine. I think everything that they're leading up to is for winter's coming.
Yeah, makes sense. We then had William Regal coming out, and MJF along with him. He throws away the AEW title and unveils a brand new title, a Burberry plaid strap AEW Championship. Now,
I was just gonna say, I want to just put it out there that when it looked like there was a title in there, I specifically said, I really hope it's a plaid striped fucking title.
You were right.
And it fucking was, and I was like...
Now the thing is, that was a very faded design. Like, it was so dark you could barely see the plaid.
It wasn't plaid enough.
I wonder if they don't really have the rights to the Burberry plaid, and so they kind of had to make it darker so it's harder to see.
They might not. I don't know. I know Burberry plaid is like a very like pop culture-y thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they have like rights over the plaid pattern. I don't know if you can have rights over a pattern. I assume you can.
I don't know. However, after it is revealed, MJF punches Regal with the Nux from behind, knocking out Regal, and Danielson comes out to check on him. Probably alluding to Danielson maybe being MJF's second challenger after Ricky Starks. Speaking of Ricky Starks...
Huh? Oh, go on. Finish that and then I'll talk.
Speaking of Ricky Starks, he then had a match against Ari Daivari, where he won via Rochambeau. And before the match, Stokely, Hathaway, Ethan Page, and Matt Hardy came out. And Ethan's still, annoyed about what happened against Ricky. And it's good to see Ethan Page is still getting TV time, even though he's not in line for that title.
Yeah. All I was going to say is that apparently Burberry's tartan pattern is one of the most widely recognized registered trademarks and also one of the most copied. Anyone who uses a check identical with or confusingly similar to Burberry check without permission would be liable for infringing the trademark. So
makes sense. So that's why it was so dark.
Yeah. Which is a shame because it would have been fucking baller otherwise.
Yeah, it would have. So after that, we had Anna JAS versus Willow Nightingale. Willow wins via Dr. Bomb. And after the match, Ruby Soho returns and attacks Ty Mello. Because last we saw Ruby Soho, she, I think, had her nose broken or something. And she was last in a feud with Ty Mello and JAS.
Oh, yeah.
Because remember, her arm got crushed in the door of the car by JAS.
Yeah.
We then had an interview with QT Marshall and Orange Cassidy. QT challenges Orange to a lumberjack match on Rampage for the title. Then had the main event, The Elite versus Death Triangle, which involved a fight between Phoenix and Penta over the hammer. But this was this match kind of exploded. A lot of brawling before the match actually started out in the ring. It involved a table spot, I think. A lot of fighting. But the Elite win via knees up on the Black Arrow. which I think Matt Jackson got the win for. We also had Impact, unlike last week. So,
Yeah.
Bully Ray comes out and is interrupted by Rich Swann. Rich wins via DQ after Bully Ray pulls out a chair. Bully Ray then zip ties Swann to the rope, but then Tommy Dreamer comes out and stops Bully. But then Scott D'Amore comes out. Scott explodes on Bully. He is cursing up a storm. He's trying to fight Bully. It's like, dude hasn't wrestled in probably like 10 years, but he wants to beat the shit out of Bully.
That was pretty intense.
It was so intense. It went on for a while too. Just Scott putting down F-bombs on Bully, obviously censored because of TV.
Yeah.
Next we had Moose versus Bhupinder Gujjar, where Moose wins via spear, but then Joe Hendry comes out. And he's like, I'm tired of Bully Ray. I'm tired of people saying his name. And then, say his name, and he shall appear. And Joe Hendry comes out. And Moose was like, I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about Bully Ray. And a whole program between them will be a lot of fun. Joe Hendry not being serious at all. Moose being too serious. It'll be great. We then had Steve Maclin versus Frankie Kazarian, where Kaz wins via DQ. Same way Rich Swann won via DQ in the opening match. A chair shot. So then we had Eddie Edwards in an interview. Delirious walks in. Kind of old Ring of Honor buddies. And so that match will probably be happening sometime soon. Hopefully before the award stuff starts, because that's when Impact kind of goes on a hiatus for a couple weeks and they just do awards.
I'm sure that'll be soon because they have been advertising new shows recently.
Yeah.
I think they're only advertising Hard to Kill.
Yeah, which I think is the next one, and I think it's Hard to Kill and then Rebellion.
Yeah, Hard to Kill is January 13th.
Mm-hmm. We then have Deonna Purrazzo versus Mickie James. Excellent match. This was awesome. And Mickie James wins via a roll up on Deonna. And then Jordynne Grace comes out as potentially Mickie James's last opponent before she retires. And I imagine this was like,
I genuinely believe that it'll be Chelsea. Oh, well, maybe not actually.
She already wrestled Chelsea.
I thought it was going to be Chelsea again because I thought the match with Chelsea didn't go to the plan. If I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember. But I think, oh no, it was like Deonna tried to get involved, but then Taylor Wilde came out and helped out.
Yeah.
And
she didn't want Taylor to come out. So that's kind of why I thought it would be Chelsea. But with the recent news, maybe that's not.
I'm sure Mickie James, when she pitched her retirement tour, she was like, these are the 4 people that I want to fight before retiring. Deonna, Chelsea, Taylor, and Jordynne. And Jordynne just seems like a good final stop for her. Unless Masha's in there too.
She could be.
But then, to end out the night, we had Violent by Design. And so, I want to talk about this because this was awesome. This was an amazing segment. And so, Diener, like Eric Young is walking through a prison. And Diener is like sitting in one of the cells, which has like a table and handcuffs. And he's just sitting there, and he's talking to Eric Young. And Eric Young is like talking about reviling the sickness and what do we want to stop the sickness at all costs? Yes. And Eric Young is like, is the sickness in the room with us right now? Dieter's like, what do you mean? Thinking it's like a trick question. because he thinks that Eric Young is alluding to Diener about the sickness, because they said the sickness is failure. But then we see there's a knife on the table, and so they start fighting it out when Diener realizes that he has to end the sickness, which is Eric Young. And so they fight it out. Eric Young wants him to do it, stab him. He does, and then covered in blood, Diener sits back at the table, and he's officially like taken over Eric Young's role. A very, very great way to pass the torch to a younger talent, especially now that Eric Young is potentially going back to WWE.
Yeah.
This was definitely like one of the best passing the torch segments I've ever seen.
It is. I just really am not thrilled by the concept of Eric Young going back to WWE.
Really?
Yeah. I'm hoping I'm proven wrong.
What if? And hear me out on this. Now that Nikki Cross is back to Nikki Cross, it's not just Eric Young coming back, potentially. What if we get Sanity back?
That would be sick. I don't see that happening, but that would be sick.
I mean, I've been looking at the events every day. I haven't seen Killian Dane's name show up once. I haven't even seen Alexander Wolf's name show up once recently. So potentially they could be coming back, get Sanity back together. That's another faction brought into WWE. Triple H loves factions.
He does love factions, and he does have factions to fight. So
yeah. Imagine Sanity versus Brawling Brutes. That would be good. And now Brawling Brutes don't have anyone to fight.
It's true. That's true. You make a point.
They should also turn Alpha Academy into its own faction. Instead of just Chad and Otis, introduce a third person.
Alpha Academy's also been stalling a bit, so I think that it wouldn't hurt for them to see something new.
Yeah. They should legit just add Kurt Angle as like a coach. That would be so cool.
Isn't Kurt Angle coming back like this Raw?
Yeah.
Am I mistaken?
Yeah, it's like his birthday or something.
Yeah.
They like I'm sure they'll just have Alpha Academy antagonize Kurt Angle like they did last time, but they should have Kurt Angle join Alpha Academy. I feel like that would be very fitting. But anyway, we then had SmackDown. We started the night with Sheamus versus Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn wins via super kick from Jey Uso onto Sheamus. We had Kofi Kingston in an interview where he announced that he will be in the Royal Rumble, and also Gunther walked in and kind of challenged Kofi to a match. It wasn't for the title. Bray Wyatt had a promo where he said, I did not attack LA Knight. If I did, there would be nothing left. So, nothing really, no real progress with the Bray Wyatt LA Knight stuff lately. But then we had Shayna Baszler versus Emma. Shayna wins with a Karafuda clutch. And then we had Kofi versus Gunther. Gunther wins via power slam, and Braun then comes out and makes a claim against Gunther. We then have the Bloodline backstage. Sheamus attacks the Usos. Then we get Damage Control in the ring. Liv Morgan comes out. She's starting to get overwhelmed by Damage Control. And I'm glad Liv Morgan's kind of getting in this feud. But then, who comes out to help Liv Morgan? Tegan Nox.
With the rainbow hair.
She's got rainbow hair. She's got her full name, not just Nox like she was when she left WWE. But so glad she's back. She is an awesome talent and beloved by Triple H too.
I saw her coming back pretty pretty easily. It's
Yeah.
not shocking to me.
Oh yeah, and that match between her and Dakota Kai that'll definitely be coming up soon. That's gonna be so awesome. Oh, and you
Yeah.
know what would make it even more amazing? You have Tegan Nox versus Dakota Kai, and Dakota Kai's lining up for a shot on the top rope. Raquel Rodriguez comes in, pushes her over, just like she did to Tegan in their first match together.
That could
Kind of
be something.
switcheroo.
You might be onto something there.
Um, but then we had, as the main event, Santos Escobar versus Ricochet in the finals of the World Cup. Ricochet picks up the dub via a 630. This was a really awesome match. How could these guys not put on a great match?
Yeah.
But let's talk about some Rampage now. Started off with Darby Allin versus Cole Carter. Darby wins via coffin drop. Um, After that, we had Keith Lee interview. And who walks in? Shane Taylor walks in from Ring of Honor. He gets in Keith Lee's face about abandoning Swerve, first of all. Then abandoning JD Griffey, who is also in Ring of Honor. And I think Shane as well. So Shane challenged Keith Lee to a tag team match. Shane and JD Griffey versus Keith Lee and someone of his choice. Swerve then walks in, just a bright old smile, like, "Hey, buddy."
It's so funny when you said to me the first time, when you first said Shane Taylor to me, my brain immediately said Shane Thorne. And I was
Oh
like,
my god,
okay,
that would have been
weird
so weird,
acquisition, but sure.
especially since he's busy in New Japan and Tag League.
I, for some reason, that's what my brain said. And I was like, all right, swaggy.
So then we had the Acclaimed out in the ring. Uh, the Ass Boys then come out, followed by Jeff Jarrett Jeff Jarrett and that whole crew. But then FTR comes out, and FTR get in the Acclaimed's face. They shake hands or whatever. And then it was later announced that it'll be FTR versus the Acclaimed on Dynamite, which will be an awesome match. Like, I could see that
Yeah.
going either way. But it'll probably be interrupted by Ass Boys.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking is going to happen.
Actually, I could see it being Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal that interrupt. Have that match at Final Battle. Because that'd be
That could be it.
much bigger than Ass Boys. A triple threat. If you don't want Jeff Jarrett or Jay Lethal to get pinned.
That could be interesting. I wouldn't be shocked either, though.
Yeah. I've heard talk about the Briscoes, but I don't think the Briscoes are going to be back
Oh,
for
God,
that.
I hope not. I haven't even heard of the Briscoes in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen them doing much lately.
Yeah,
So
well,
then we
they were
had
around for a while.
yeah. We then had a video package for Hikaru Shida. The Bunny challenged Shida for her Wave Championship, one she's been toting around on AEW lately. Then we had Private Party versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. Lethal and Jarrett win via lethal injection and the stroke, kind of tag team maneuver. We also had Athena versus Danny Moe. Athena wins via O-Face, which should still be called the Eclipse. O-Face is a very bad name.
Yeah.
And Athena just beats up Danny Moe after the match, given that heel heat. Darby Allin then challenged Samoa Joe for the Ring of Honor. Oh no, for the TNT Championship. And he said that Wardlow and Sting will both be banned from ringside. And I think that's happening on Dynamite. So Dynamite's gonna be pretty big this week. And then lastly, we had Orange Cassidy versus QT Marshall for the All Atlantic Championship in a lumberjack match. Orange wins via beach break after Kip Sabian attacked Orange Cassidy. But that wasn't enough to put him down, so Orange still wins. And we'll probably have Orange versus Kip at some point down the road. And that's all the wrestling that happened, aside from New Japan, which has had their tag leagues going on. Nothing much to report there other than Aussie Open winning in the lead right now, and Catch 22, which is Akira and TJP.
Whatever.
I think they're tied with Ace and Bay, which really, really interesting leads right now.
Yeah.
I think the heavyweight one is Aussie Open leading, and I think Sonata and Naito in tow. Should be really interesting. I think they just beat Aussie Open a couple days ago. All right, so let's talk about the 5 best matches of the week. I think this is like we also had Survivor Series, but we did our live watch along of that. It was a lot of fun. Definitely, we gave our thoughts on that then. Liz walked away with the predictions championship, unfortunately. I lost. All because of the bloodline. But 5 best matches of the week. I think the best, personally, was the Bloodline versus Team Brawling Brutes Survivor Series match. Just so story rich.
Yeah, that was a really fucking good match, and there was almost a 3-beat story to it in a way.
Yeah.
With like the distrust, the betrayal, and the coming together.
Yeah.
It's like a real story in like one match. It was good. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. Really excellent storytelling. Next best match, I would say I'd say the women's War Games. What do you think?
It it's hard for me because cat. It's hard for me because it wasn't as good as other women's war games matches, but
Mm-hmm.
war matches in general are usually a step above the rest. So yes, I agree with you, but I do think that this could have been a better war games match. I think it was kind of a disappointing war games match.
Or would you say the second best was the United States Triple Threat? Because I
No,
thought
I would say
that
the war games match.
the War Games match was second best.
Yeah. I think the way that Theory won was stupid.
I kind of like that though. Well, if they were
It
going to,
did it I would put that at third best because it did keep you guessing for a really long time, and I like that in a match.
I also love the opening where they're both Bobby and Seth just wanted Theory out of the ring.
They were just no, stay out.
But yeah, that was definitely third best. Number 4, I'd say Fred Rosser versus Jay White. I'm strong.
Okay, I could see that. That was actually a damn good match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I'd say Deanna versus Mickey James, personally.
I don't remember Deanna versus Mickey James as well as I want to, but
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that you are right.
Would you say instead of that, Dax Harwood versus Bryan Danielson?
Yes,
Okay, I'll go with that.
that moved me more
Mm-hmm. So,
personally.
men's War Games at number 1. Number 2, women's War Games. Number 3, United States Triple Threat. Number 4, Fred Rosser versus Jay White. Number 5, Dax Harwood versus Bryan Danielson.
Yeah.
All right.
Sound of that.
So now, if you have any questions for us, leave them in the chat now. We're going to move on to our little activity. Ask us anything you want, wrestling, non-wrestling. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. We'll answer it in the next one. If you're listening on Spotify, ask us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. Whatever you want.
Or go to YouTube.
Or go to YouTube.
Go to YouTube and leave a comment.
Yeah,
Content.
leave a
Leave
content.
content.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Remember those video replies that you used to be able to do on YouTube? Those were so
Yeah.
weird.
I didn't remember that until like now. Oh my god. You
Yeah.
unlocked something in my brain.
All right. So, the little activity I've got for us.
I want everyone to know that I don't know what this activity is, and Mark made this up without me having any consent whatsoever.
Cuz I want it like fresh in your brain.
It's fresh in
So,
my brain.
our own Wrestling World Cup.
Oh fuck me.
It's the World Cup. It's the elimination round. 16 teams. So let's make not quite 16. That might take a little too long. But let's talk about 8. 8
All right.
wrestlers. It'll be your own and it'll be my own. And only single country. So not like what SmackDown World Cup's doing when they have like 4 people from the US.
I want everyone to know that my shirt says free squirrel with purchase.
The little Christmas vacation reference.
Not to give any credence to Chevy Chase. All right, fine. Can I start?
Yeah. We'll
All right,
do
so
we'll alternate. We'll alternate.
All right, so we're starting with Malachi and what's his face? Little, not Neville, but
Pack.
Pack.
Wait, so you put 2 in?
Sorry, I. Hmm?
You put 2 in?
Oh, I was like, I thought we were
You're
starting
doing
with our matches.
matches. You're doing matches. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my first match.
So, what country does Malachi represent?
Is he
Netherlands?
No, is it the Netherlands? I thought he was Dutch.
Yeah, that's Netherlands.
Yeah, no, hang on. Let me make sure that he's actually Dutch. Yes, he's Dutch. Okay. I could have sworn he was.
All right.
You can tell because the accent of the Dutch accent is actually, I think, very easily understood for Americans because Dutch and English are actually quite close.
Yeah.
So whenever I hear a Dutch person, I'm like, I get you.
So, I'm gonna start off. I haven't thought about this at all. I know I've thought about the activity, but
Real
not.
quick before you go into this,
Well,
are we going with? We're going with actual birth destinations, not like shoot birth destinations, correct? Or
right.
sorry, no, kayfabe birth destinations.
Right. So not Death Valley for Undertaker.
So not Kingston, Jamaica for Kofi Kingston.
Exactly.
I think he's from Boston, if I'm not mistaken.
So I'm going with Josh Alexander for Canada versus I'm gonna go US for his opponent. His opponent is gonna be his opponent's gonna be Kurt Angle.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a dream match to start off. All right, so who's your next? What's your next matchup?
My next matchup is going to be a little bit out of the bag here, okay? We're going with. Hang on, I'm still thinking. I have like one person in mind, so I'm trying to like think of the next person to go with him. Okay, I'm fulfilling my strong character. Also, we're getting in the American card here. We're gonna go with Kofi versus Seth because Kofi's actually from Ghana. I didn't realize that. He was brought up in Massachusetts.
Okay.
So
And Seth
is my American card. I
Okay.
think that they would just have a funny little match.
Okay. So I'm gonna go. Next match is Japan. I'm gonna go Okada,
Ooh, okay.
and he's gonna go against. He's gonna go against. Oh no, yeah, Hijo del Vikingo. from Mexico.
Oh, okay. All right, so my next one will be I don't like part of me doesn't want to do this because I think it's too easy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, does it? No, because okay, sorry, I had to remember how the World Cup works while I watched the World Cup. Um, I was like, no, I'm not gonna say it out loud. Actually, I don't want to look stupid in front of people. Oh no, no, we're gonna do big beefy men.
Okay.
We're gonna do Drew versus Duke,
Drew
Scottish Australian. Get a little bit of that going.
versus Duke Hudson.
Yeah,
So Scotland versus Australia.
yeah. Actually, no. Joe Hendry versus Duke because they're both loud and annoying.
Where
And still Scotland versus Australia.
okay. So I'm glad you're taking Drew out of the mix for you because my next is Gunta versus Drew McIntyre.
Oh, okay. Then I know what my last one's gonna be.
All right, what's your last one?
Actually, no. My last one is gonna be. This might sound weird,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's just me thirsting, but Marcel Bartel, or is he still? He's not Marcel Bartel anymore, is he?
He's Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that is. I'm German. I'm allowed to say that. No, I'm kidding. Versus Sonata.
Sonata, okay.
Yeah. I think that could be an interesting match.
All right.
Plus, I'd
So
love to see him get fucking put into Sonata's submission.
mm-hmm. All right, so my last one. Um Man, I need to think of other countries.
Yeah, think of countries.
Um,
There's 52? Is there 52 countries?
there's way more than 52 countries. Way more.
Let's see. Maybe it's 152. How many countries?
Just how many countries, period.
I'm pretty sure there's probably like 52 countries in Africa. Now that I think about it. No, I'm sure there's a little less. I think. I don't know. There's 195 countries in the world. They've got to be somewhere.
They've got to be
Wait, hang on.
somewhere. Okay. They've got to be somewhere.
How many countries per continent? I was not wrong. There's 54 countries in Africa. They
Okay.
got to be somewhere.
You said 52.
I know, but 54 is pretty fucking close to 52.
Okay.
I knew that Africa had a lot of countries.
Man, I'm having trouble thinking of the last one. I've got one person.
There's 195 of them. You can pick from any of them.
Like part
I
of
get representation from every continent, don't I? Besides Antarctica,
you
Australia, Europe, Asia, Africa.
you don't have South America.
Oh, I don't have South America. You're
Unless wait, Ghana's Africa, right?
right. Ghana's Africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Then yeah, you don't have South America. Um,
Yeah, I went double down on Europe. That's why.
you did.
No, I went triple down on Europe.
You did. Joe Hendry, Malachi and Pack, and Kaiser. So quadruple down.
Oh shit.
Um,
Sorry, South America.
oh man, I've got one person. I need.
There's
Okay.
some easy ones.
I've. Is there any Russian wrestlers besides Masha?
You say that, but I feel like there is.
Oh, wait, no, I got it. Because I didn't cover England yet. All right, so my last one's Will Os. Oh, wait, no. That is covering England. Shit. Will Ospreay is from England.
What were you gonna
I
say?
was gonna say Will Ospreay versus Tyler Bate.
Mark's like, I haven't covered England yet, so I'm gonna do it twice.
um.
England versus England in the World Cup.
Oh, I got it.
You know what? With the number of people Gareth Southgate doesn't use, England could fight England. Just saying.
My last
Come
one's
on.
Will Ospreay versus Ilya Dragunov. So
Is he Russian or is he German?
I thought he was Ukrainian. He might be Russian. He's definitely not German.
No, he's Russian.
Okay.
Yeah, he's Russian.
Oh, he's from Moscow.
Yeah.
All right. So, in your World Cup booking, who wins Malachi versus Pac?
Malachi. It's only right for the story.
All right. And Josh Alexander versus Kurt Angle. I'm putting Josh over. Sorry, Kurt.
Sorry, Kurt.
So Kofi Kingston versus Seth Rollins. Who wins that?
Kofi.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't. So you don't want to have Malachi versus Seth?
Wait. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Kofi. For the storyline, it's better for it to be Seth versus Malachi. You're right.
Not to
Mostly
interject.
because I want Seth to cut a promo pre-match and have Malachi just.
Yeah. So Okada versus Viking L. I'm sorry, Okada. LOL, Okada wins. Joe Hendry versus Duke Hudson. If this was reality, this would be like the jobber match. Whoever's up against, like, whoever wins here is just jobbing out to the guy in the last match.
Joe Hendry.
Joe Hendry, okay. Gunta versus Drew McIntyre. I'm sorry, Gunta's winning. All right, and your final opening match: Ludwig Kaiser versus Sonata.
Kaiser.
Really? Okay.
I would say so, yeah. He's much more of a brawler than Sonata ever could be.
Okay. Now, my last match: Will Ospreay versus Ilya Dragunov. Winner of that goes against Gunta. It could easily be Ilya Dragunov. Get the rubber match there. However, Will Ospreay has faced Gunta before. So I'm going with Ospreay. We're getting that match back, and I think that would be an excellent matchup. All right, so Malachi Black versus Seth Rollins.
Malachi.
Okay. Now, is this House of Black Malachi Black where he can do the mist?
I don't expect a miss, but I expect some form of brutality.
Shenanigans.
Yeah, maybe a shenanigan or two.
So, next up for me is Josh Alexander versus Okada. Oh, man. That's a hard one to book.
That is a toughie.
I'm gonna have Okada win. Okada's winning that. All right, next up for you, Seth Rollins versus Joe Hendry versus Ludwig Kaiser.
I think I'd go with Kaiser.
Real? Oh yeah, okay.
You just called Joe Hendry a jobber.
I did. I forgot I made that comment. All right, and my semifinal match: Gunta versus Will Ospreay. Man, that is a tough one. But Gunta's going over. Finals is gonna be Gunta versus Okada. All right, and your final, very, very interesting final: Malachi Black versus Ludwig Kaiser.
I go with Malachi.
Fair enough. I feel like yours is like the a World Cup that Tony Khan would book, which isn't necessarily no. It's not like world caliber
Feels like
wrestling.
an insult.
Well, think about the kind of World Cup quote unquote that he did for the All Atlantic title. It wasn't like big name guys. It was probably like people he was just fans of. It was like Malachi, Pac, Miro, Ishii, which ended up being Clark Connors. So your grand winner of the World Cup is Malachi Black over Pac, Kofi, Seth, Sonata.
Yeah.
Now my final, Okada versus Gunta. It's gotta be Gunta. I'm not having Okada win yet another tournament.
No, not again.
And then we have the culmination, Malachi versus Gunta.
Yeah, well, I think we know how that would go.
I think that's all Gunta.
Yeah.
All right. That was fun. Fun little World Cup thing. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
Sure. If you tuned in tonight or today, it's only 2:38 p.m. If you tuned in today, thank you so much. If you tune in the future, thank you so much. I'm sure you were probably watching the World Cup. Unfortunately, we want England to win today, and I hate to say that because I want Senegal to win in my heart. Mostly because fuck England. If you have different opinions, have fun. But yeah, tune in to us. Tune in to Mark. Oh, England just got a goal. Jordan Henderson. Can't blame you. Can't blame you. Anyways, next time you tune into us, I might not be watching the World Cup, actually, now that I think about it, because oh, maybe I will be. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyways, not the point. If you tune in, thank you so much. If you didn't, whatever. Please tune in to Mark as he does our podcast next Saturday, because I will be in a different state doing different things.
Yes. And I know we haven't really done our 2K22 streams as of late. We're still trying to get back into the swing of that as well. But we will be doing it this coming Tuesday. It's just been a little bit hard lately. So we will be back in the swing of that. So that'll be happening here at twitch.tv/pinfall, the Pinfall Podcast. All right. So Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, it's all Pinfall Podcast. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. Join me on next Saturday for the next weekly recap, as well as final battle predictions. I'll be gathering Liz's as well. And right here at Twitch for our 2K22 stream. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your weekend and a great start to your week. We'll see you on Tuesday. If not, Saturday. Bye-bye.